What's up, guys and girls? It's your boy The Hunter Official. Welcome back to the Epi Banger video. I've got an unboxing for you today, and what we're holding right now is the world's lightest reel. Let's get into it.
There we go, guys. Another fish. First fish of the day in 1 hour.
Like that little hook in the intro type of deal, but what we'll be rocking with today, this is the KastKing Kestrel Elite, and like I said, this is supposed to be the world's lightest reel right now. This clocks in at 4.5 ounces on the box is what it says. On the website it says 4.4 ounces, so kind of to pack that up, the lightest reel that I can think of right now is the Abu Garcia Xenon spinning reel, which is 4.9 ounces. The next best one is I want to say it's a Chinese market reel. I can't think of the name right now, but I know Reel Test has done a coverage on it before, and it weighed in at 4.5 ounces, but it leaned towards that 4.6 ounce range. But this one right here is 4.45 ounces, and he also weighed it on his camera, and it weighed in actually right at 4.4. What we're gonna do is we're gonna unbox this. I'm gonna show you guys the nitty gritty of this reel before I get out on the water. I literally just got this today. I'm super excited to try it out. I actually am getting to test it and actually give you guys my honest opinion. I've used reels like the Gecko Bijan, the Alphys Air TW. I've even used the 2016 Baron. I don't have one anymore. My buddy actually had one. I used that one. That was the one I'm talking about. But I've also used the Comparative BFS. I've used a lot of different reels. So I'm really excited to try something out from KastKing to see if it stacks up against some high-end competition. So I would say really I've used KastKing Zephyr before. The Zephyr was good. Probably not the best budget reel in comparison to the DW, but I do think it's an awesome little reel, especially for the price. So if you guys are kind of curious about which KastKing BFS reel you should opt for, I have a feeling it's probably going to be this one if you're wanting to spend that kind of money. But how about we stop talking and we get down to business. I'll see you guys on the other side. All right, guys, we've got the camera set up. I'm trying to actually straighten out. We've got the camera set up with the box. So this is the Kestrel Elite 8.4 to 4 to 1 gear ratio. It's a casting reel, of course. And we've got, here's the stats on the side. That says gear ratio of 8.4 to 1, 11 plus 1 ball bearings, 13.2 pounds of drag. Now that's a higher number for a typical like bait finesse reel. So I kind of noticed that. So the monofilament line capacity is going to be 4 pounds at 80 yards, with the high end being 88 pounds at 50 yards. Braid is going to be 6 pounds for 215, 8 for 160, and 10 for 125. Now I have some 6-pound KastKing 8X finesse braid right here. That is 6 pounds, and if I could fit 215 yards of that line on there, I would be 1, thoroughly surprised, and 2, interested to see how that actually casts, because typically with bait finesse reels you do not see a number so high for the braided line capacity. And as I said before, weight is 4.5 ounces. I don't even know if the GoPro is honestly I'm actually trying to keep y'all away from my dirty desk and trying to make sure I don't show you guys too much, but got like a slammer and a gecko and my nail polish remover, because you know my nails sometimes need to be polished. The inches per turn is 29.1. But yeah, here we've got 4.5 super lightweight digicut magnesium alloy frame. So that's actually something me and Amir over from BaitFinesseEmpire have been talking about, that if the magnesium alloy is going to be kind of tough to deal with in salt, because so a lot of magnesium reels typically do not perform that well in salt. This is actually a full aluminum reel over here, and I love it. It's what I use mainly if I'm throwing out big cut bait or something like that, but I like to use my typical salt fishing reel is this Gecko Bijan right here. So this is a pretty light reel, but I also made some handle swaps, so it's probably a little bit heavier than this reel for sure. This reel is actually only 36 millimeters and a half tall, so it's actually kind of a small reel. We got carbon fiber drag, that's good. It's just basic stuff, so, but without further ado, let's get her cracked on open on the iPhone style box. Any day now. Any day. And boom. There it is. So that is the Kestrel Elite. Ooh, there we go. So I actually looked at it really quick, but when I first got it, just because I wanted to see what it looked like. But first thing I always check now with bait finesse reels is I always check the drag sound, because it just makes such a difference to me. That's almost identical to the Gecko Bijan, which is very nice. It sounds really good to me. the engage is very smooth. Feels very crisp, feels very to the point. It's a little bit louder than a Daiwa, but about the same as a Shimano thumb bar. Very comfortable, very nice. This reel is so small. I mean, this is easily the smallest reel I think I've ever held, and it feels like nothing. Like the only weight that you feel is like right here, and that's because that's entirely all the gears. Thumb bars are not thumb bars, the finger grips or whatever feel very, very nice. And one thing I kind of noticed about this reel when I first got it is like I was really concerned with the logo and the branding, like the engineered for the win, the whole design for competition. I was kind of worried whenever I got this reel that I was going to find all these decals and everything kind of gaudy in a way, and like that is like almost as if it's too much. But to be honest, they're not distracting from the reel itself. The looks of this reel are phenomenal. I mean, it's not meant to look like any certain JDM reel, but it looks like its own thing, and that's kind of surprising. I know that this piece came from the Steez. You have different pieces that came from certain reels. Obviously, in the industry, they had to draw inspiration from something. But I mean, for as branded as this reel looks, it's actually rather good looking, and I feel like this is a very unique and individualized reel so far, at least. Just feeling it. I mean, just reeling it now, I don't feel any like scratching, no rubbing, no whining. Like with the Corrado, when I first got the Corrado, it had almost a like rub you could hear. Tolerances are really tight on the reel, so that's very nice so far. I mean, the handles are smooth, the just typical reeling is smooth, and overall, I would actually compare, this is going to sound crazy, but I would compare this to my Alphas Air. Like, the smoothness is almost Alphas Air level. I would say the Gecko Bijan is phenomenally much more smoother than this reel and the Alphas Air, but this feels very close to my Alphas Air. So one thing I kind of worried about is that even with the $220 price tag, was this going to feel high quality? Was it going to feel like $220? And first impressions, I say yes. It 100% feels that way. And the drag clicker isn't getting in the way of the operation of the drag. I don't feel any stopping up, no dry feeling to it, so that's good too. Let's test let's make sure we test that free spool real quick. We got the brakes on 0 on minimum right here. Oh, that sucked. Not bad. So definitely a little over braked, but not as bad as I thought. So I'm gonna show you guys something really quick. So you guys saw that. That's the free spool. It's like 2 seconds. Now let me show you something real quick. So this is my Alphas Air on free spool. So definitely need to clean the bearings. Now this Alphas Air has clean bearings, this doesn't, but I mean, the free spool is not horrible. It's not horrible. I would say that it could be worse, but free spool really does not identify the performance of a reel. Free spool, I think way too many people rely too much on free spool, and the fact of the matter is you're not going to be free spooling when you're casting. That's just a ridiculous thing to actually think. Yeah, and I've got a little side-to-side play, so I mean, it's not going to free spool at the end of the day. I will say these handles, the drag star and the handle, like, I don't know what to call that, the handle right here, I guess, that they're very light. Everything about this reel just feels so light, and in comparison to my Daiwa, these reels feel like completely different ball games as far as the lightness goes, because I mean, this reel, even with my handles and everything off of it, I would say that this reel it just feels like it's twice as heavy as this reel. Like this reel, it feels like literal air in my hand, is if I had to describe it. But I mean, really, really, really good, impressive reel. I'm trying to see if there's anything else in the box, really. But yeah, I mean, as far as free spool goes, I mean, one, you don't have to worry about so much as to how your reel free spools. I think that's actually almost not a very useful thing. It's just really only getting an idea for your bearings, and then it relies on tolerances. Your tolerances are going to reduce or increase those different things. But I mean, really, really how we're going to figure that out is, let's figure out really quick how greasy these bearings are going to look. So we have a locking mechanism right here on the side plate. Comes right off. Very short spool shaft. And there's the braking system right there. Oh, we got the spool rolling away. So we have the braking system is a lot like the Shimano FTB braking system, but we have square magnets, it looks like, and it moves sideways just like that right there. Does not look bad at all, but I can tell there's definitely some grease on that bearing. Huh, sweet. I would try to take this out, but I honestly don't feel like putting this back together right now. I do think I'm going to make a video later on where I actually show you guys how to swap out the bearings, and actually we're going to test it out in a future video, but this is just going to be an unboxing video, so I'm not going to show you guys the stock bearings. We're just unboxing, that's all we're doing. And then we have the bearing on the spool right here. Very very greasy. See how my fingers look right there? They're very greasy. But this spool is tiny. So just to give you guys an idea, that's the spool for the Kestrel. Here's the Daiwa Alphas Air spool. Also tiny, but look at that. We've got about equal size and everything. Very similar comb design to it. So we both went in the circle look. Same spool width. This has more of a ramp to the sides as to this does. So yeah, we learn a little bit, and we have very similar spool shaft lengths. And guys, look at how much grease is on there. I think that even though this reel, like, one thing I feel like with BFS guys is, one thing I want to mention really quick, just because I just noticed it with how much grease is on this reel, there is a ton of grease. So out of the box, I do suggest you cleaning off this grease. That's what this is for. So this right here, if you get like a small metal or glass plate and just put some of that in the plate, let these bearings soak for about 20 to 30 minutes. I usually do it once or twice just for good measure, and all that grease will come off. You can take off the shield if you want to. It'll help it, but honestly, I never do it because it kind of slips in anyways, and it does get whatever I need it to out. So typically it'll spin a lot better. But whenever I clean my Daiwa Alphas air bearings, that cleaned it pretty well. So what I'm gonna have to do is just get a spool bearing tool, removal tool right here, and just slip that out, take this bearing off, and we're gonna soak it in grease. And we're gonna test the stock bearings after you clean them. Once I do that, that's how I'm going to test and see if this reel is really good stock. So I haven't even gotten out on the water with this reel yet, but I really am curious to see what we can get into as far as changing things, fixing things. We're not fixing much of it besides just some grease. So if you guys are curious about this reel, if it's ready to go out of the box, 100% it feels like it is so far. But one thing with BFS that people have to realize is BFS is all about modification. BFS is all about modding your reels to have a lighter spool, better bearings, just lighter casting. When BFS started getting its place in Japan, we had to change things. We had to fix things. So with BFS, you had to switch out a spool, and then that was it. And then once you got a shallow spool, it was less backlashing, less problems. And then they're like, okay, let's make the spool lighter so that it spins faster on lighter lures. So then that happened, and then it was just another modification after another modification, and then eventually you got BFS reels. So one thing that I've noticed with this reel so far is a lot of people are complaining that it's not ready to go out of the box. If you don't think this reel is ready to go out of the box, one, you're crazy, and two, I will say that this reel is a lot more capable than people are giving it credit for. This reel was designed to compete with reels like the Daiwa Alphas Air or Shimano Aldebaran, and so far, just from feeling the reel, I think that is the case. I really agree that it is possible. I think that this reel is going to be a fantastic reel for people who are bass fishing, pan fishing. I don't know how with salt it's going to perform. I'm almost considering braving that and just washing it off really good after, because I can do reel maintenance myself, so I'm not really too butthurt if I have to do some maintenance and clean it off, because magnesium just doesn't do really too well. Salt just gathers up really well in it. But so far this reel, as far as smoothness, it's a 9.5 out of 10. This reel right here is what I would call a 9. like 0 out of 10. This is what I would call a 9.5 out of 10. And this is what I would call a 10 out of 10 right here. Because I mean, this reel is just insanely smooth out of the box, insanely smooth. This reel right here does feel pretty smooth out of the box. I mean, for a KastKing reel to feel this smooth out of the box, I'm thoroughly impressed. I've been using KastKing reels for many years, and I will be the first to say that not all of them are perfectly smooth out of the box, but this reel is definitely right at that point. I would say that this reel is going to compete very strongly in the game right now. I mean, just looking at these reels side by side, this reel, the profile is much smaller. It's a much shorter reel, so it's not as tall. This reel feels a lot more hand fitting. It feels more natural in the hand than this does. Not to say that Daiwa Alphas Air is not one of the kings of the BFS game, but I will say that this reel 100% feels absolutely amazing. I am thoroughly impressed by this reel so far. I was hesitant whenever I heard and saw some videos at iCast of this reel. I was really worried that maybe it wasn't going to be exactly what I wanted it to be. But I mean, just you have clicking brake dial. The brake dial looks amazing in this fit. I thought these edges weren't going to be comfortable. Super comfortable. Drag is loud enough, but not too loud to where it's stupid. You have a clicking spool tension. Let me fix that and make sure it's ready to go casting. But then the thumb bar engages, not very clicky clacky like, but more of a tactile bump feeling. So if you know anything about keyboards, Razor Brown switches sound very similar. Very nice. So then you have a clicking drag star. Definitely good. I think that this reel is going to be a great reel for light lure fishermen. So when I mean light lure fishermen, this reel is what I mean when I say light lure fishermen. I say if you're wanting to pick up a Daiwa Alphas Air and you're wanting to get a reel that casts 1 to 5 grams very efficiently, this is that reel. I think if you replace the spool, it's even better. If you replace the bearings, it's even better. The Gekko, on the other hand, I will say is a more of a 2 to 8 gram reel. This reel, the free spool is insane, obviously, but this reel is also what I would say the next best thing to a Steez Air, because this reel feels so just perfect. And this reel was designed for saltwater in every possible way, and that is what makes this different. So 2 to 8 gram reel, 1 to 5 gram reel, and this I would probably call a 1 to 5 gram reel. I haven't casted it yet, so I have really no clue, but just from the feels of it and how that spool moves, if you notice with the spool, it's not moving too much, especially at half breaks. But it can definitely, I think if you fish with loose spool tension, it'll perform a little bit better, but I do plan on 100% cleaning out the grease bearings and hopefully improving the casting distance on that note. So, I mean, so far, looks amazing. Comfortability, comfort, feels awesome. I mean, the palming is probably the best palming reel I've ever used. This reel feels great, but it feels honestly huge and heavy compared to this reel. I mean, if you fished with this reel all day and then went to use a normal bait caster, it's not going to feel the same in any regard. It's just not. I mean, in comparison to a Penn Slammer 4500, look at the size difference. I know this is a spinning reel, obviously that's the truth, but literally just the gearbox is as big as the reel itself. I just wanted to point that out because this reel is going to 100% change things. I know I've said that about a lot of gear that I've been reviewing lately, but I do think that this reel is going to challenge high-end distributors like Daiwa and Shimano and whoever else eventually comes out with a BFS reel. This reel is going to set a new tone for the BFS market with being the lightest reel in the game, the lightest spool in the game. That is just insane. So, I mean, really my opinion of this reel is just way better than I thought it could have been, and I'm really super excited. So let's switch back to the other angle. I'm going to tell you guys how I really feel about everything, and we're going to wrap this video up. See you there. Alright guys, I hope you like the angle. I kind of tried something new on this unboxing just to try some new stuff. This is the Kestrel Elite again. So this reel is phenomenally small. It looks pretty much what I would say a $220 reel should look like. It's fantastic. As far as the feel, very tactile, very lightweight, and I very much enjoy how this reel feels overall. Super light spool, super light reel. I think that this reel is going to be great for for those panfish and trout fishermen specifically so far, those 1 to 4 gram users. You have spinners, you have small poppers, you have small rigs that you're going to use, maybe even float rigs. I think this is going to work with a lot of different baits. So if you're really looking at this reel and you've really been curious, I will say a lot of people have been negative about this reel. If you read the comment section of these YouTube videos, they're very much one-sided because the fact that this reel is not Shimano or Daiwa, people are very hesitant and they're quick to judge this reel. So the one thing I kind of make sure I want to put forward is, yes, I'm associated with KastKing, but yes, I've been supporting KastKing long before my social media days. I've been using things like the Royale Legend, the capstan reels. I've been using the, what else have I been using? Mega Jaws Elite, not Mega Jaws Elite, Mega Jaws. I've been using those reels for 3-4 years now. I've used them in tournaments. Those are some of the best reels I've ever used. So of course I was gonna have to make sure I got this in my hands as a BFS fisherman. I needed to make sure I made a video about this. One thing I worried about is too many people were gonna get sucked into that Daiwa Shimano fanboy hype. At the end of the day, this reel is the lightest reel in the industry now. This reel has the lightest spool in the industry. The Dark Wolf Ultra had every other reel in the industry beat before with a 5.6 gram spool. Now this reel comes in, I think, at like a 4.5 or a 4.9 gram spool. I don't remember exactly. I'll probably throw it right here in the bottom of the screen. I think it's actually a 5.6 gram spool if I remember correctly. Either one. Point is, this is now the lightest spool on the market, without a doubt. Essentially, there is no spool that you're going to find in a reel that comes at stock with a light spool like this. So a lot of you guys who are throwing light stuff like 32nd ounce jigs, if you're throwing a 32nd ounce crappy magnet or whatever, this reel is going to be the reel for you. I honestly do believe that, and I honestly can't wait to throw this on the double down and go test it out. I'm probably gonna go test this out tomorrow morning at my local lake. I'm not sure if I'll catch fish on it, obviously. I've got some 6-pound 8X finesse I'm gonna try throwing on there. I've got a ton of this line, so if you guys really wanna check out some more stuff from KastKing, their value as compared to what you get is amazing. So there's only really 2 lines that I've been using a ton lately for my BFS stuff, and that's KastKing and Varivas. So Varivas and KastKing have been my 2 absolute favorites. As far as line in the 6-pound range goes, or even smaller, I wish there was some 4-pound I could find of this. There probably is 4-pound, I just haven't looked, but 6 pounds typically what I use. So I'm really excited to actually test this out and see what we can get into. I'm gonna throw around probably things like some 3-gram rigs tomorrow. I'm gonna throw around some 2 grams. I'm gonna throw around 4 gram even. I might even go up as high as 6 or 7 grams just because I'm feeling a little extra brave with this reel. But overall, like I said, guys, don't give into the Shimano Daiwa fanboy hype. I think it's ridiculous that people are so worried about this reel being not as good out of the box when it's a KastKing, and they think because the KastKing logo is on this reel that it's not a good reel. And I can tell you those people are 100% wrong. I haven't casted this reel yet, so obviously I might be speaking out of my behind, but when I tell you this reel is probably runner up to my Alphas Air right now. Like, this is a tie for like my 2 favorite reels right now. Like, my first favorite reel is the Daiwa Gekabijin, and my second favorite reel is the Daiwa Alphas Air. I think that this reel could possibly match my Daiwa Alphas Air. I don't know, but I'm gonna have to try. I want to try this reel, and I think the next BFS reel I want to try after this is going to be the 2022 Aldebaran, just because I really need to try it out. But this reel is phenomenal. I mean, it's just feels great. It's super light, and I honestly have actually put it on my Jenko rod already, and it's so light. It just feels like it's not even there. So I'm super excited to try it out and see what I can get into with this reel. So, like I said, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this little unboxing video. Hope you guys enjoyed that new little angle. And if you really want to go check out this reel at BaitFinesseEmpire, I'll have a link to it down below. There's actually a Labor Day sale going on. I don't know how much longer it's lasting, but if it's not, you guys just missed it, but there was a gift card going on, whatever it was. But this reel will be going on sale a couple of times, probably during the holiday season as well. So hope you guys make sure you stay tuned and look out for that. But this reel is, I'm super excited for it, and I think it's challenged the industry. But I think that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, remember, fish.